Welcome back, everybody. So, as I said, we were going to continue with basically the finale of of the war campaign, and probably also the finale of the expansion. As I'll be able to basically show you a couple things. A little note, by the way, I am recording this on the day of the hotfix, where they have changed some of the things regards to the cloak and echoes. Apparently, the reputation thing is staying for now. Anyway, I was under the impression it was going to end as of yesterday, but apparently it's still going on. Which, considering that's going on right now, along with Sign of the Emissary, this is as good of a week as ever to do the rep stuff via World Quest, because that's 150% extra rep. That's really nice. Yeah, they've also reduced the amount of pages you need for the cloak upgrades. They have changed the amount of echoes in Nyalotha and all that stuff. So, anyways, that's not really that important. I just wanted to, just in case you were curious about when I was making this.
I will do what I can.
My brother Derek died in the Second War, only to be raised against his will by the Banshee Queen. Well, then again, a lot of people were brought back against their will, Jaina, in the, you can even see in the Forsaken Starter Zone, but it was a matter of whether or not they were given any kind of choice of what to do with that. But anyways, if not for Bane Bloodhoof's courageous act of defiance, Derek would have been turned into a weapon against my family. He's lived in torment since his awakening. I feared that he would be lost to us, but he has received help from an old friend of mine, who has also been recently raised, Kalia Menethil. She has guided him back from the brink of despair. I'm on my way to pay them a visit. Would you care to join me? Of course, Jaina.
We all have our ghosts.
I will meet you there. I'm pretty sure I know exactly where this is going to take place. Ignore these other things that that I'm going to be working on, that I'm going to be working on. Which one is it? There it is. Yeah. Up there. So I guess we'll go to Milestone Hamlet and find Kalia over there.
Good day to you. Smooth sailing.
Now, from what I understand, I mean, we all basically know the relationship between Jaina and Arthas, but it's worth noting, and this was touched upon in the Arthas Rise of the Lich King book, was that the Menethils and the Proudmoores, like, as families, were pretty close. I don't believe they went, because obviously they were focusing on Arthas in that book. They weren't focusing on Jaina that much, because she wasn't the main focus of that book. Sorry. If the thing's gonna go off. I forgot to turn that off, sorry. But Jaina obviously was not the main character of that book. Arthas was. But of course, all the stuff about Arthas and Jaina was very important and integral in that story and book. But I'm pretty sure, based on the interactions we see here, that it wouldn't surprise me in the least if Jaina and Kalia were basically like sisters. Like, in terms of how they interacted, like besties. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I'm going to try and talk over that so it doesn't get that loud. So, but anyways, yeah, you know how, let's say, is it really hard to imagine that she, that with Arthas being her boyfriend, that she would have, become good friends with her boyfriend's sister? Like, I find that very believable, that Jaina and Kalia would have had a very good friendship, to the point of either being best friends or, loving each other basically like sisters. So, fun fact, you can just walk in here, no problem, as Alliance. As Horde, you basically have to kind of hide over here, because, of course, you're, eavesdropping on a meeting, so. Let's head on inside. It's kind of funny there's a ghoul here, considering. And this is Kalia Menethil's new model. So, obviously, she got a change from how we saw her last time back in Legion. Mainly if you play as a priest in Legion, because basically you don't get to see her at all in Legion unless you are a priest, since she makes an appearance when you first go meet Alonza's Fowl, and then she hangs out in the Priest Order Hall the entire time, and that's basically the only time you get to see her. So I imagine if you don't play a priest, this was probably kind of like a, huh? And if you're wondering, why is Kalia a Forsaken? Basically. Well, why is she a form of undead? Because she's not really that type of undead. This is a very unique type of undead. She's basically the only type that we have so far. I should note, so far, because the possibility of this continuing, or more of this type actually being added, could, it's certainly out there, but it's not entirely likely. It was very unique. So, I will admit I haven't actually read this short story that I know that this took place in. But Sylvanas found out about Kalia because, well, she found out about her being around in Legion helping out the Priest Order Hall, and Sylvanas killed her. Now, this was obviously another horrible act by Sylvanas, because just because Death Knight Arthas wronged Sylvanas, that doesn't mean Kalia should pay for that. Because Kalia did nothing wrong to Sylvanas. She didn't deserve that. And from what I understand, Anduin had a hand in helping basically bring back Kalia, using the light to help revive her. Now, it is worth noting that we do have, res as a gameplay mechanic in the game, but it's also something that is in the lore. Like, res is a thing in lore in the Warcraft setting. So it's not uncommon that a character can be brought back, res, which sometimes can make people go, well, then why don't they just bring this person back? Why don't they just bring that person back? It's not something that's very commonly used, or, that it doesn't happen very often in the setting. So it's not like they use it to the extent that we do in gameplay. I want to, look at it that way. So the whole thing with the way and the manner that she was brought back, she, from what I understand, is a similar type of undead to the likes of Sylvanas and the Thanos, which, when you look, I've heard someone break it down, like there was type 1, like type 2A, type 2B, type 3A, type 3B, and type 3C, which was the new type that was revealed in Legion, which is what happened to Nathanos, which was the unaging and unrotting type of undead, where you're also yourself, you have your soul attached and all that. There's a whole different type, there's various different types of undead. So, from what I understand, she is similar to the type of undead that Sylvanas and Nathanos are, except with the light. Some have even called this Light-Forged undead. I don't quite buy that, because that was, the Light-Forged thing is a unique kind of thing that the Army of the Light and the Naru did, which is not, I don't believe is the exact same thing. This is something rather unique, which, look, I don't know where exactly they're going to go with this, other than the possible change of direction for the Forsaken. Now, I don't believe I'll be able to show this to you guys as an Alliance character, but I did show this to you on my Horde character. So if you want to see the cutscene that happens, that takes place after this, involving Kalia, Derek, and Lillian Voss, be sure to check that out. But let's see what happens here as Alliance.
I stand ready to help.
Welcome. It's nice to have company. Ah, Jaina has arrived.
Find peace within. Ah, Jaina. What a relief to see you safe.
Hello, Kalia. Big brother.
Word has spread of what happened at Orgrimmar. Is the war finally over?
It will take time for all the pockets of fighting to be quelled, but yes, I believe so.
Azeroth has seen so many wars, so much strife. I pray we have earned a respite.
As do I. Have you been able to find peace in your own heart, Derek?
I still have some rough seas to sail, but I'm much better now. Thanks to Kalia. Without her guidance, I would have been truly lost.
I'm so grateful you brought us together, Jaina. This time with Derek has helped me as much as it's helped him.
In the wake of this war, others will need to find their footing, their future. Perhaps you could guide them, too.
I'm not sure how much help I could be. I don't have all the answers.
Maybe they don't need answers. Maybe they just need hope. Like I did.
Well said, big brother. Come, let's take a walk. I am so grateful to have you both back in my life. Let's enjoy this moment together.
Oh, is that it? I guess so. So yeah, I imagine it's a little difficult to actually see the other cutscene about that, because there is a follow-up, but it's mainly involving Lillian Voss, and with the indication that Kalia and Derek are basically now going to take over helping run things with the Forsaken, now that Sylvanas and Athanos are basically run out of town. All for the better, I say.
What can I do for you?
And I don't really know what this actually means in terms of possible relations with the Forsaken between the Alliance and the Horde. Because it's hard for me to think that this, if they do, that means Callie and Derek are just joining the Horde, you know? Because, of course, how can they just straight up join the Horde and be like, "Arr, against the Alliance," with this faction war thing? Though at this point in time, remember, we are now at peace. We now have an armistice. There is no longer any steps here in regards to the war campaign, because we have finished it. You know, I even now could put the title of Veteran of the Fourth War on me if I wanted to. So, yeah, right there. So, I like the Vengeance Incarnate title, though. You know, to me, it just kind of fits with the Demon Hunter. But, I would like it if this somehow led to some kind of diplomatic relations between the Alliance and the Horde via the Forsaken, with Kalia and Derek running things. I think that would be a very interesting dynamic for them to go in that direction. Obviously, we need to wait and see what they do in regards to it going forward into Shadowlands. As I mentioned in the other video, when I showed the other cutscene involving Lillian Voss, because it's not just Callie and Derek, basically Lillian Voss is now becoming one of the de facto leaders of the Forsaken. Which, considering where she started, and I'm showing that in the Forsaken Starter Zone storyline, by the way, I'd say that's pretty awesome for Lillian Voss to have come that far. To go from being absolutely mortified at being brought back as an undead, as a former daughter of a priest of the Scarlet Crusade, to now being one of the leaders of the Forsaken. I think that's kind of cool that that's where she's ended up in her story. But I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what they do with it. I know some people are not happy about it, but that's because a lot of them are just, Sylvanas loyalists. They can't imagine anyone running the Forsaken other than Sylvanas. There are just some that are just blindly loyal, but anyways. So, with that being done, because I didn't see any other, main quests over here. I don't see any others here, so... There is one thing I do want to show you guys, and it also has a follow-up cutscene, and that's what I really want to show you. So now pretend we have gone through the entire Black Empire campaign, where we've met Rathian, we've done all that, and then pretend we have now done LFR Nyalotha. Because at this point, I actually don't really feel like doing LFR Nyalotha again. I did that on my Shaman, and that was an interesting experience, doing the LFR version of that raid. So if you want to see that, the LFR version of the raid, I have that's in the main World of Warcraft playthrough on my Horde side on the Orc Shaman. But since we have already beaten him, what do you say we now tell Magni? Guess what?
Needs us, champion.
We beat N'Zoth. You did it! N'Zoth's forces are scattered and his grip on our world is fading. You truly are the champion of Azeroth.
Back to work. Since being wounded by the Mad Titan, Azeroth has been crying out in pain. In her hour of need, she lent you her power. Today, at long last, she's free from the grasp of the old gods. Her song rings clear and strong throughout this chamber. Hold her heart with pride. Know that you are more than a champion of your people. You are a champion of Azeroth!
Not a champion of the Alliance, not a champion of the Horde, a champion of Azeroth, because that's what really matters. Okay. So now that that is done, I believe something else should pop up here. Now, if it doesn't show up here, I'm pretty sure where else it might appear, so... What the? Wait a minute. No. Huh. Oh, right there. So Jaina has another quest for us.
We cannot let the world fall to darkness.
Oh, here's the follow-up. So it looks like I may actually get to show it to you. Hello. Nixon, I have received word from Kalia asking that we meet with her once again. She has so much to offer those who feel lost, those seeking a better way. Once she is free of doubt, she will know what must be done. Will you join me?
Be careful who you trust.
We're meeting her again? Sail with the tide.
Ahoy! Safe passage to you.
So, I'm looking for the follow-up. I don't think it's actually going to be here, though. I have a feeling it's actually going to be in Stormwind. Let's see here. So, there's supposed to be something that pops up. Now, on Horde, it popped up when I went to Zuldazar, and Valera is there in Zuldazar, and she's like, there's something happening that you need to see. Now, Valera's not exactly hanging around in Borealis there. At least I don't think she is. So I will have to see who is it that I talk to get the follow-up with the cutscene that happens after you have turned in the quest of finishing the Black Empire campaign. Because that's what I really want to show you guys. You can also, you guys can probably tell what I'm like looking at working on with this character with some stuff. And yeah, sorry about the alerts going off from the NPC scan and rare scanner add-ons. I had those on. They really help out when it comes to trying to finish certain things or do certain world quests and such. So it's I know it's annoying that when it goes off when I'm trying to make this. So.
Miss Davenport has requested delivery of a few
Now, Talia.
in the war effort.
Light's blessing upon you.
My death seems to have given me a new purpose.
Honor. Thank you for coming, Jaina. I wanted you both to know. I have decided to leave Kul Tiras.
You're leaving? Why?
I received a letter from Lillian Voss of the Forsaken. She asks for my help.
Voss? I've read reports of the crimes she committed on behalf of her war chief. What does she want from you?
The Forsaken lost their queen. For many, it's the second time they've been abandoned. They feel adrift, alone.
But Kalia, none of that is your fault.
They are my people, Jaina. My father gave everything for Lordaeron. I wish to honor him and to prove worthy of the name I was born with. The name Menethil.
Right then. So when do we leave?
I cannot ask you to come with me, Derek. Kul Tiras is your home.
I am a Proudmoore, and I always will be. But I've changed, and it's time to see where the tides will take me.
I understand. Though I will miss you both. Come. Mother and Tandred would never forgive me if I let you leave without a proper farewell.
Ooh, do we get to see that cutscene? I love that Derek immediately is like, right, so when do we leave? He doesn't even hesitate. He's like, all right, I'm coming with you. When do we leave? And he's like, no, I'm not hearing any of it. Nope. Nope. Don't even think about trying to talk me out of it. Not happening. Yeah, those two are clearly becoming a pair, which is, like, as I said before, very fitting that, you know, Arthas and Jaina were together. So, of course, now they're, you know, now Kalia and Derek basically end up together. It's so obvious. You know, we always, well, I didn't necessarily do this, but I heard lots of people, when I say we, I say like we, like some of the WoW community. We always joked for a long time that Jaina was going to become a undead and basically join Arthas, or rather join Death Knight Arthas, the second Lich King, and become the Lich Queen. That's what I've heard a number of people used to say, before they, of course, started making jokes about her being a Dreadlord, though that mainly happened in Pandaria. But when you see both sides of the story that happened in Pandaria, it's very understandable and reasonable why Jaina started acting the way that she did. So, like, even comments that she made at the end of Siege of Orgrimmar, like, you know, whispering into Varian to dismantle the Horde, because when you see what she went through and what got her to that point, it was very understandable why she was at that point in her life and her mentality, where she basically had, like, the last straw, like, break for her, where at that point it was just like, yeah, like, it was bad, yeah. So let's see. So let me see real quick. Is it just going to happen here on its own, or do I have to go find Jaina and possibly get the follow-up quest to that? Yeah, I think I got to go find Jaina. The funny thing is, it's not showing up here. I'm kind of curious. So sometimes you have to actually like go to like somewhere else in order to be able to actually get it to kind of load up or trigger. Like go through a loading screen, then come back and all of a sudden, hey, there it is. So, however, like I said, the follow-ups probably should be here. In fact, I'm guessing rather than finding Valera, I actually have to head here to Stormwind and go to Anduin in order for it to trigger, I think. Gonna do a bit of running around here, it seems. Oh gosh. Switch. Switch chats, quickly. I don't want to show you the horrible ugliness of general and trade chat within Stormwind. It gets really bad. It gets horrifying. It's horrible. Okay, let's see.
What needs done?
Ah. Here we go. Shaw. I had a feeling maybe Shaw would be the one. King Rin has called for an audience with the Alliance leaders in Stormwind. Your presence at the meeting has been specifically requested. The gathering will be held at the embassy. Come speak with me when you arrive in Stormwind. I'll be waiting with the others. Do hurry. It would be ill-advised to keep the king waiting.
The king requests your presence in Stormwind. I will be there to meet you when you arrive.
Sure thing, Shaw. Gosh, Stormwind is a beautiful city. And by the way they made Stormwind look in the Warcraft movie, oh, that was gorgeous. I saw Stormwind in the movie and I was just like, wow.
I thought I saw you glance in my direction.
Uh-huh. You got here just in time. The king is about to begin his address. The king will be addressing us shortly with news from his diplomat's mission to the Horde. The other leaders of the Alliance have already arrived. I'm sure that they are eager to hear what King Rin has to say. Speak with me when you're ready, and we will greet the king together.
Sleep with one eye open.
So, I want you guys to pay attention to what happens in this
We
cutscene.
fight in the shadows.
The armistice is signed. At long last, the Fourth War is over.
Not while the Black Moon still cries out for vengeance. Not until the Horde has answered for its treachery.
Further bloodshed will not bring back the fallen. We must renew our hope and forge a future for those who survived.
And when the next war chief musters an army, will hope save you if it is Stormwind that burns?
I know it's difficult to trust, but there are signs of change within the Horde. In place of a war chief, there is now a council, led by Bane, Thrall, and the others. I believe they can—
Your faith is naive, Lion's son. I will sign no treaty unless it is written in the Banshee's blood!
There is truth in her words, Anduin. Peace may be on the table today, but soon enough, the Horde will sound their drums and march for war. When that day comes, no scrap of parchment will hold them back.
The path to peace will not be easy, and not all will choose to walk it. But this is the only way to build a better future. I believe it will work, Ken.
Notice that fist clench at the end there.
Still.
So, I pointed out what was going on there because I really want to emphasize this. And this cutscene really showed me the two that are definitely the biggest problems here. Notice everybody else was cool with the armistice. Velen, the dwarf leaders, Illyria, Turalyon, the gnomes. Everybody was cool with it. Except Tyrande and Greymane. Take note that Tyranda's voice was different. She sounds like she is actually changing. Like she is becoming more... And I don't exactly know, because again, they haven't really clarified the whole Night Warrior thing, what exactly it is, and what exactly it is that has changed about Tyrande. How much of her has actually changed in terms of her personality, because of this transformation that she went to become the Night Warrior. Because it sounded like her voice was different during that, when she even, like, you notice that she basically almost, like, channeled some kind of, like, aura around her. She changed the lighting of the room. The room got darker when she started talking. The way she, started talking to Anduin, she insulted him, calling him Lion's son. Basically, indicating that she does not respect him. Sorry if I just hit the mic there. She does not respect him like she clearly or apparently respected Varian by calling him that. Now, it's understandable that she wants Sylvanas dead. That's understandable. And it's also kind of understandable that she wants the Horde to answer because of how compliant they were in just following through with her orders to burn Teldrassil. Even if Saurfang did call her out on it afterwards, they still followed through with it. And it goes back to that, that argument we've had when it comes to real life things, like when we talk about some of the Nazi soldiers from World War II, with the excuse of, I was just following orders. At some point, even if you have to, say no when you realize how wrong your orders are. It's kind of like what Finn did in Force Awakens, where as a stormtrooper at the beginning of the movie, he's ordered to open fire on the civilians, and he just can't bring himself to do it because he knows how wrong it is. And then there's Greymane. And he's like, oh, there's some truth in her words. And he says, soon enough, they will march on the drums of war. And I'm like, you don't know that. You're saying that as if it's a foregone conclusion that of course they will, when there's no truth, evidence, or proof behind that. It's not a given. That's only based on past experience with the Horde. But as Anduin said, the Horde is changing. There is no longer a war chief. There is a council of leaders run by the people who have brains, like Thrall and Bane, and Lorthamar, and Thalysra. Like, all the people in the Horde that are now, Gazos running things instead of Gallywix. Things are different now. But they just can't bring themselves to accept that. Greymane can't bring himself to accept that there's actual going to be change with the Horde. And rather than going off talking about the one they really want, which is Sylvanas, they instead talk about getting the Horde. And it just, even when... I love that Anduin is trying to stick to his guns here. Anduin is trying to stand up to them and be like, no, this is going to work. We're going to make this peace work, no matter what. And Greymane, you see that way he clenched his fist there at the end? He doesn't want this peace. He's with Tyrande. He wants to go after Sylvanas and the Horde. And this is why I refer to Tyrande and Greymane as warmongers. They don't want peace. They don't care about further bloodshed. They just want vengeance. They are consumed with vengeance. And to a degree, it's understandable. I get it. I get why. But at some point, you have to be willing to let go to not have further people die that are along the way.
It's Shaw.
The meeting did not seem to go quite as the king expected. We know where Gen and Tyrande stand, but I wonder what the others have to say.
The job's not
The
done
bitter
yet.
war is over. Yet it seems few among us are in the mood for celebration. Our young king least of all.
A great weight rests upon King Anduin's shoulders. I fear his burden won't get lighter anytime soon.
And what of you, Shaw? What is there for Stormwind's spymaster to do in a time of peace?
You know as well as I that a true spy never rests. There is always a new conspiracy to uncover. That said, I may find a bit of time for myself.
Just yourself?
There is someone I would like to get to know better. But such things are best taken slowly, carefully.
Spoken like a true spy. Just remember, happiness is a fleeting thing. Find it while you can, Shaw.
Perhaps I will, Valera. Perhaps I will.
Oh my goodness, are these two gonna be a pair? I didn't know that Shaw had the hots for Valera. That's actually kind of adorable. Did you hear the way Shaw was like, oh, well, yeah, there's someone I'd like to, well, get to know better. He sounded so shy admitting this to Valera. That was so cute. Now he's like, I wonder what they'll think. Well, how convenient that they're all still here. Velen.
Will you join our cause?
I once told you that each of us must forge our own fate in this world. The time has come for the Horde to forge their own fate as well. Without a war chief to command them, they must learn to walk a new path. Will it be a path of peace or a path of war? Only time can tell where it will lead.
We
Greymane.
We owe much to the Alliance.
In order to preserve peace, we must prepare for war. Okay, Greymane. I kind of understand that, but you'd be smarter to prepare for war for what's coming in Shadowlands. Like, prepare for war against Sylvanas and the Jailer's forces, not the Horde. They're going to be your allies in Shadowlands. At least I hope they are. If we go back to fighting each other in the Shadowlands while we're facing Sylvanas and the Jailer in the Shadowlands, I'm going to be irate.
King Anduin, Tyrande. The Kaldorei can ill afford to shun the Alliance. They have provided aid and comfort to us in these dark times.
The young king is foolish to trust our enemies. Harsh words should be the least of his fears.
The Banshee Queen no longer leads the Horde. Those who do seem more inclined toward peace than war.
If the wolf is rabid, it matters not who rides it. Sooner or later, the beast will bear its fangs.
You are dearest to my heart, Tyrande. I beg you, let go of the Black Moon's rage and embrace the Mother's light once again. I could not bear to lose you to darkness.
Know this. My hunger for vengeance will not be sated so long as Sylvanas Windrunner remains free. And until I know why Elune abandoned her children.
Tyrande, do not say such...
I will tarry no longer in this city of men. Let us leave for the bowels of Nordrassil. From there we will dispatch the sentinels to every corner of Azeroth. Let no one rest until the Banshee is found.
Tyrande, I can give you a little tip. Send them to Icecrown. They may have a little trouble with the Scourge, but I have a suspicion she might be heading to Northrend.
In her light, all truths are revealed.
But you notice the change in her voice? This is what I'm talking about. I start to wonder how much of Tyrande, like her personality, has actually changed by this transformation to the Night Warrior. Is this still Tyrande Whisperwind that we have known, or is this someone else now? That's what I wonder. I will not stand idle while Sylvanas roams free and the crimes against my people remain unpunished. See, that I'm okay with. Go after Sylvanas, by all means. Go. Go hunt her down, take her down. I'm all for that. But not the Horde. Okay?
Do not lose faith.
You know, I had my doubts about Chandris, but after what I just heard her say, she's grown on me. Although the Kaldurai suffered greatly in this war, it is time for us to heal and rebuild. We can still look to the future without forgetting the past.
On your mark.
Oh, just generic Kul Tirans. Hey, where are the other leaders? Huh. Warframes. Hey, Muradin!
Got me hammer, got me axe. Let's get to work!
Peace with the Horde! I'd be lying if I told you that I trust them after all they've done. But, who knows? Maybe with the Banshee Queen gone, they'll finally be able to live peacefully. And if they do go back to their old ways, the Bronzebeard clan will be here to put them in their place. Okay. He just sounded like, okay, let's see how this goes, but if they actually do, we'll be ready. So, I'm kind of cool with that. I will say, when are the dwarves going to get, like, a focus in an expansion? Like, I'm waiting for the dwarves in Ironforge to get, like, a big focus. Like, when is that going to happen?
May your path bring
Moira?
you glory.
In time, my son shall rule the Dark Irons, and perhaps all Ironforge as well.
The Alliance and the Horde have both suffered terribly in this war, and mistakes were surely made on both sides. What matters now is how we move forward. Do we learn something from all the bloodshed and loss? Or do we keep on repeating the past? That is an excellent question and view, Moira. I gotta say, Moira has come a long way. We used to think, that's how she was. Like, she was, like, schemingly evil. But you know what? She's actually getting better. She's gotten a lot better. To the point where she's just now, like, here with us. Like, yep, she's one of us now. We're cool. We're cool with her. She's cool with us. We're all cool. We're all cool. Put my shades on. Be like, we're cool. Falstad!
It'd take a hand's worth of these hill dwarves to bring one from the Eyrie down.
So it's peace now, eh? After all that? Ha! Well, it's worth a shot, I guess. I can forgive. But a wild hammer never forgets. Well, of course not. We're not asking you to forget. No one's asking anyone to forget about all this. We're just saying, give it a chance. I like how the quartermasters are here, like, hey, do you want to grab these, things while you're here? Where are the gnome leaders? Where's Mekatork and,
The bitter war is over, yet it seems few among us are in the mood for celebration. Our young king these...
Wonder why they're repeating the conversation they just had.
A great weight rests upon King Anduin's shoulders. I fear his burden.
No, seriously, where...
Anytime soon.
It's like, hey, go talk to the leaders. I'm like, okay. Some are missing.
Spymaster to do in it.
Where are the gnome leaders?
You know as well as I that a true spy never rests. There is always a new conspiracy to uncover. That said, I may find a bit of time for myself.
Hold on. I don't want to cut this off without seeing whether or not there's, like, certain people that we actually haven't talked to yet. Like, seriously. Like, there's a bunch of cows here. Some of them are actually targetable. That's kind of funny.
Perhaps I will, Valera. Perhaps I will.
Not even Illyria and Terralion apparently stayed. Like, why didn't they stay? I wanted to talk with them. See what they thought about this. Hold on a second. I can't find them, but I'm like convinced that they would have been here, and if I talked to them, they would have said something. So hold on a second. Let me see if I can look this up. Just give me a second. Not entirely sure what to look for here, but we'll see. Oh, come on. It's like I don't even remember what that quest was called. All right, let's see. Alright, so yeah, there was an article about Tyranda's thoughts, which is the stuff I just showed you. Yeah, it's mainly about Tyranda, but not necessarily about... Hold on. Alright, I think I found the article talking about this, where it describes both factions' versions. And that's mainly it. Oh well. Oh gosh. I am so sorry, guys. I actually left that on the screen. Sorry about that. Did not mean to leave general and trade chat up for you to see. Oh gosh. The horror. So anyways, at least we got to talk to most of them. For some reason, I can't find Illyria, Tyrallion, or the gnome leaders. I don't know why they wouldn't be here for us to talk to. Let's just do one last check. Oh. Jaina's in here.
I saw you speaking with a messenger from Kul Tiras, Jaina. Is everything all right?
Nothing to worry about. It was a letter from a certain eager cadet asking to see Stormwind. And to learn more about her father.
Talia, please tell her that this isn't a good time for visitors.
She deserves to hear the truth, Anduin. From you.
Tyrion Fordring himself made us swear that we would keep the secret of Bolvar's fate. You made that vow just as I did.
I remember your father once telling me that the hardest thing about a promise isn't keeping it, but knowing when it's right to break it.
Bolvar was a noble man. To know that he sits frozen upon that accursed throne, devoting his very life to keeping the monsters at bay. It breaks my heart. I can't bear to see it break Talia's too.
The decision is yours, Anduin. But if she learns that the truth was kept from her, it will hurt her all the more.
So that was a cutscene I had entirely forgot about. That little conversation. Yeah, that's them addressing the whole Talia wanting to know more about her father thing. Now, that also confirms something that some of us have speculated on. Is how many people in lore, how many characters, not us the players, the characters in the setting, know of the truth of what happened on top of Icecrown at the end of Wrath. Many characters in this game, in this setting, believe the Lich King died, and so did Bolvar, because that's what he told us to tell them. What they don't know is the truth of that Bolvar is the one wearing the crown, sitting on the frozen throne, at least for now, until the cinematic in Shadowlands. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. the point is that we have wondered how many characters actually know. And Anduin just confirmed right there. Tyrion, of course, knew, and he had the people who were there. Now, what's funny is Anduin wasn't visibly shown there. But, of course, Jaina was there. Muradin was there. Sylvanas was there. Varian was there. Heck, even Garrosh was there. But now we have confirmation that Anduin apparently was there as well, because he says Tyrion told him. Now, I could also believe that Tyrion told Varian, and then Varian told Anduin and made Anduin swear to never tell anybody. But the fact that Anduin is saying that Tyrion told him, that's interesting. But the point I'm making is that that only a handful of characters in the setting actually know the truth about Bolvar being the third Lich King. And, well, now we know what happens going into Shadowlands, right? Yeah. We also know that Bolvar is basically going to be he's going to basically be what Khadgar was for us in Legion and what Magni has been for us in this expansion, which I am totally cool with and on board with. I love the idea that Bolvar, who has gained all this extra knowledge about the Shadowlands and everything regarding the Scourge, all that stuff, he has gained all this knowledge during his time wearing the helm. And so now, because he knows so much about the Shadowlands, like as much as anyone does, for him to now basically be our guide as we're going through the Shadowlands, I'm so on board with that. I'm so looking forward to that. That's going to be so great. And it's one of the reasons why I want to play through the Shadowlands as a Death Knight, because I imagine there's going to be some Death Knight unique stuff in there, because why wouldn't there be? If it's just generic stuff that's not unique, harkening back to what it was like in Legion, where you had unique stuff for your class, I'm not going to be very happy at all.
Be vigilant.
We have faced much together. You have always been a noble friend and ally. For the brief time that you have been here since Legion, since you're not exactly a character that's been around since Vanilla, since you were awoken at... Anyways.
Be vigilant.
What would you ask the Daughter of the Sea?
This moment of peace was hard fought, and so much was sacrificed to bring it to fruition. It must not go to waste.
The Alliance will endure.
I'm liking what I'm hearing, but I'm very concerned this is setting it up for the writers to once again be stupid about, hey, let's have them fight each other and hate each other again.
Asking to see Stormwind. And to learn more about her.
Talia, please tell her this isn't a good time for visitors.
So I'm just going to do one more quick runabout here to see if I can actually spot the gnome leaders, or Terralion, or Illyria. Are they actually, could they be in these houses?
That vow just as I did.
Just kind of hanging out. And I just missed them. We're around the embassy. I would hope they're still around, but maybe not. There's a cat. There's a dog. Huh. Hello. Terralion. Illyria. Mechatalk. No? Alright. I just find that so odd. They would show them that they were there, and then they just disappear. And you don't get to actually get their opinion from them. I'm looking all over, and I cannot find them. At all. What about in here? No, just some random guard. A druid trainer. That's not who I'm looking for. Alright, whatever. So, that is basically it, everybody, for BFA. We have finished the war campaign. We have... Pretend we actually did go through Nyalotha and beat N'Zoth. That actually showed you guys us going through Nyalotha and beating all the bosses there in N'Zoth, and yeah. And that is effectively the end of BFA. So I have now shown you the whole story campaign from both the Horde perspective and the Alliance perspective. Basically the only two perspectives that are relevant to this expansion compared to the 12 that we had as each class in Legion, but whatever. So, I obviously now have... obviously I'm going to be having my characters get ready because we're getting closer and closer. The alpha is still ongoing for Shadowlands. It hasn't even gone into beta yet. At the time that I'm recording this, we are in the middle of May. And we still don't know when Shadowlands is going to be coming out. They keep saying things like late, 2020, I guess. I'll believe it when I see it. It's like once we get an actual confirmation on release date, I'm not going to believe anything because at times it's like, oh, it's going to be around this. And then sometimes a delay will get announced. They'll be pushed back to early next year. I don't know if that's going to be the case. Based on the direction that I've been hearing about what they're doing, I kind of hope that's the case because a lot of people complained that they thought this expansion was rushed. They thought this expansion was hurried out too fast. It was rushed out before it was fully finished. That it should have had more time to be worked on. See, here's one of the big problems with Blizzard listening to their player base. Players will demand for more new content. They don't want content droughts. But if it gets more content out too soon, they then complain, it was rushed out too fast and blah, blah, blah. So you gotta, as players, we have to make the compromise. Do you want more content, or do you actually want more good content? Do you want them to rush it out so they can meet your demands for more content and not have a drought, or are you okay with a drought if it leads to them having more decent time to work on content to actually make it better? Because this was the case when we had the drought between Warlords and Legion. Because there was no content for a good period of time between Warlords and before Legion came out. But it's because they were trying to work hard on making sure that Legion was as good as it could be. And that's what I want for Shadowlands. A lot of people felt that wasn't the case with BFA. They thought BFA was rushed out too fast. It didn't get worked on nearly enough to make it more polished and actually make it good. So let's be patient about the lack of content before we get Shadowlands. Let's actually be patient about this and let them have the proper amount of time, because let's also forget, or let's not forget, let's also remember this is different circumstances now because we are in the middle of a pandemic. Many of the Blizzard employees have had to be working from home during this time. And because of these unique circumstances, I say it's okay if they end up having to take extra amounts of time to work on the expansion due to the different circumstances that those people are working under to work on this expansion. So let's cut them some slack when it comes to them working on this, given the circumstances that they are under, not to mention that they are wanting to make this as good as can be. So, I am one of those who says, I'm cool with waiting if they have proper amounts of time to continue to work on Shadowlands to make it as good as it can be and as polished as it can be. When Witcher 3 was, being worked on towards getting released, CD Projekt Red announced they were going to delay the release, and the reason they gave was because it wasn't good enough. And I loved, to this day, I love that was their reason. Because a lot of people heard that and they were like, ooh. And then, of course, Witcher 3 came out and it was one of the best games ever made. So, that's the kind of example I like to use. Let's let Blizzard have the kind of, reason and time to work on Shadowlands like CD Projekt Red was able to have with Witcher 3. Because look at the results. If the results are what matters to you, then that should be all the reason you need. So, you'll probably see this guy again at some point in regards to, let's say, doing some of the soloing dungeons or soloing raid content, especially since I'm looking at what I can do in regards to the soloing Legion raids at this point. It's something I'm working on testing, so don't be surprised if this guy pops up again. But if not, then you may end up seeing him at some point, possibly when Shadowlands comes out. So this has been my playthrough as a Night Elf Demon Hunter through the Alliance content in BFA, through Kul Tiras and such. And I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys next time.